Hello friends, Mandar here. I am back with another video. Today we are going to cover some important topics regarding adjustment of status. I am going to cover what it takes to convert from EB to EB3 if you have waiting for a long time and want to convert to EB1. I am going to cover about what are the things that are happening in the immigration space that are helping the faster processing of your case for green card if your priority date is current. I'm going to cover some important topics, and at the end I'm going to give prediction for EB2 and EB3 India or backlog countries for the month of June 2021 visa bulletin. So if you are interested in this topic, watch this video until the end because it's going to be interesting, and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Just before we get started, I wanted to remind that I have started a fundraiser for underprivileged children in India to get education. Feel free to donate whatever you can. The link is just below my video or on the right side of your screen if you are using a computer. With that said, let's get started. The first topic we are going to talk about is EB2, EB3 to EB1 conversion. It's not really a conversion, but I will get into the details. As you know, for the backlog countries, the EB2 and EB3 dates are not current. So they are several years back. What that means is if you are in the EB2 or EB3 category of the backlog countries such as India or China, you have a very long wait until you get a green card. The reason is your priority date is not current. So even if you are eligible for 485, they may not actually process your case until a visa number is available to you. Now this time frame can be in multiple years or even a decade for some people like EB2 India. So during that time, if you are working for a company, say for instance you started as a software engineer or senior software engineer, and now while you have waited on EB2, you have already progressed through your career with the same company, or you may have changed some jobs and now you are in a different category where your responsibilities have increased, or you may be in a managerial role, or you may have taken up further studies, done your master's or PhD, done some research and publications, and now you may be qualifying for EB1 category. So whether it's EB1A or EB1C, if you are a manager, there is a possibility that you could start your process for EB1. The EB1C rule says that if you have been in the managerial capability for that company in an office outside of the United States for at least a period of 1 year in the last 3 years, you may be eligible for EB1C. So if you are still working in the United States for the same company, you may want to talk to your manager, or you may want to talk to your company about giving you an opportunity to work from outside of the United States for at least a period of 1 year so that you can fulfill that condition for EB1C, and then your employer can file your new I-140 for EB1C. Now let's look at the second scenario. If you have taken up further education and you have completed your master's or PhD and you have fulfilled some requirements for EB1A such as publications and dissertations and research material, you can work with a lawyer to get your case filed for EB1A. Now remember, the EB1A conditions are very stringent, so you might want to work with a lawyer to get your case really built up for EB1A. So nothing is stopping you from going from EB2 or EB3 to EB1 while you are waiting endlessly for your green card. Now once your EB1A or EB1C 140 is processed, the dates are actually current for every country. So you should be able to get your green card within the next several years. So that was the first topic I wanted to cover. Now let's talk about the second topic, and which is the very popular topic which I have got a lot of questions on this topic. Say for instance you have filed for your 485, I-140 485 concurrently along with your EAD. Your dates are current as per the final action dates chart. What happens now? Now here's the important thing. Up until now, there has been rumors that some people are getting interview waivers. Some people have actually emailed me and also messaged me that they actually got their green card without going through an interview, and I'm talking about employment based green cards. So that is a wonderful news, because this is not yet a policy. If you remember what Charlie said in his last interview, that there is no such policy for interview waivers for EB category, but in reality what we are seeing is a lot of the immigration officers are actually waiving the final interview specifically for EB category. So if you are one of those who do not get an interview, consider yourself lucky. That's probably happening with more and more people as we go forward. The second thing is biometrics. Now there is also some relaxation in the biometric rules. Now remember, biometrics is essential component of your green card processing or your adjustment of status. They want to go through the FBI files and your background check to ensure that you are who you say you are and you have not done some criminal activity that would disqualify you for a green card. So it is an essential component. But the actual biometric appointment, taking your fingerprint, as you know, you may have done it several times in your life. Say for instance, when you came into the country, you have to give your fingerprints at the port of entry. Next, whenever you go through your visas or your EADs, things like that, you still have to give your biometrics. So now what I'm seeing is people are reporting that they have been getting biometric appointment waiver. So they are not getting any biometrics at all, because evidently they have been able to trace your previous biometrics or use your previous biometrics from your previous visa applications for the purpose of adjustment of status. So that is something also that is happening. So with this interview waivers and biometric appointment waivers, it seems that they are trying to speed up the processing times. I mentioned in my previous videos that they have 262,000 visas, which is 122,000 that were spilled over, and the base volume of 140,000, which makes it to 262,000 visas available for this fiscal year that they need to process by the end of September 2021. So which means they have to really speed up these cases if they really want to do it. And as per Charlie's interview last time, he was very optimistic that USCIS is going to process all of these 262,000 visas. It is a little bit of surprising, because just a few years back the USCIS was not even able to process the total of 140,000 visas. Now they are talking about almost double the quantity of those visa numbers to be processed in the same time frame. But these relaxed rules for interviews and biometric appointment waivers are kind of helping them go through this flood of applications in this fiscal year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can process all of the 262,000 visas by the end of September, which means it is a good news for a lot of people. Now a very important question is, what happens if my date is current? So you have applied for your 485, your I-140 and your EAD card. Now remember, if it's a downgrade petition or if it's a concurrent filing as per the filing date chart between October to December, your I-140 has to be processed before your 485 application can be processed. Your biometric, if they need it, can go forward within couple of weeks, and also you may get your EAD. I have heard that even before processing of your I-140 application. But what does not happen is 485, which is adjustment of status, that does not get processed until your I-140 is absolutely approved. So that keep that in mind. Next is, how much time will it take if your date is already current? Now what I would say is it would take anywhere from 6 to 8 months at the least, because we are talking about October to December volume of cases, and again all the cases that would come after that. So they have to process 262. They have 262,000 visas available between these EB categories. Even with the interview waivers and with the biometric appointment waivers, they still have a big amount of visas to be processed. So consider your application to be processed anywhere between 6 months to 8 months if your date remains current, and that is the key. Now what happens is, you may get a letter or RFE for your medical if you haven't submitted it already. If you get such RFE, be sure to go and take a latest medical exam, which is I-693, that is filled by the doctor, and you need to kind of send that packet without opening, sealed, to USCIS as soon as possible. Once you send it to them, once they receive that, then your case is documentarily complete. Now if there is no interview, they can directly adjudicate your case and issue you a green card. So now what happens during this time if your date retrogresses? If they have opened up these application windows for a long time, they get a lot of applications and then they find themselves scrambling to get them approved, and if they cannot approve them all, sometimes they may think about retrogressing the dates back again. So you may find yourself in that category if you lie in that date time frame. In that case, what happens is you still remain on pending adjustment of status, which is a valid status until your date finally gets current again and your green card is processed. Now some people are finding that their I-140, whether it's initial concurrent processing for EB2 or a downgrade petition for EB3, if they have not used premium processing, it's taking well over 7 to 8 months. I can believe that because there is lot of applications that are being downgraded from EB2 to EB3. What it means is they just have a duplicate volume. They also have EB2 and EB3, flood of EB3 applications. So it's no wonder that they are taking their time between 7 to 8 months to process an I-140 for EB3. Now if you think that it's essential for them to approve it sooner, consider upgrading it to premium processing. That way you will get the result within 2 to 3 weeks. Now some people have asked me what is the issue with the green card EADs being issued for the people who have actually applied within between October to December. I would say it's just the flood of volumes. If these applications go to a certain processing center, which is NVC, which is Nebraska Processing Center. Now all of these applications, which is in thousands, have gone during that time frame, October to December, to that one processing center. Now they may choose to reallocate those cases to different processing center such as Vermont, California or Texas, but mainly they are processed through Nebraska. There is no other reason other than the flood of applications that they need to go through for issuing EADs. Now some people have asked, my biometric is completed but my EAD has still not arrived. Now remember, I don't think there is any connection between biometrics and EAD. The reason I say that is I have heard both cases where EADs have been received even before your biometric, or EAD have been processed after biometric. So it's really a gray area. I cannot say for sure that biometric has to be completed for EAD to be processed by USCIS, because those are two different offices that are doing these things. My assumption was you have to have your biometrics done and they have to go through your background check in order for you to get an EAD, but obviously that is not the case always. But the fact remains that EADs are taking very long time, and I don't see any other logical explanation for that other than the fact that there have been a tremendous amount of increase in the applications between October to December of last year that they are still going through. Now let's talk about the prediction for June 2021 visa bulletin. Now I'm going to specifically talk about the backlog countries such as India for EB2 and EB3, because that is the volume of subscribers that I have, and I have got a tons of questions regarding what are my thoughts regarding where these dates are going to line up. Now let's talk about EB2 India. Their current date as per the final action date chart is August 2011. Now if we go by the assumption what Charlie says, these dates have to meet the filing date chart dates, which is in May 2011. So you are seeing a difference of around 9 to 10 months. So what I would say is the date for EB2 India will progress to December of 2010 by in the visa bulletin for June 2021. Now let's talk about EB3 India. The current date as per the final action date chart is February of 2011. Now this has to move forward in the next 4 months to January of 2014, which is almost 3 years. And when you do a simple math, I think these dates are going to progress by up to 9 to 10 months in the next month, in the month of June 2021 visa bulletin. So the date can go up to November or December of 2011 for EB3 India. But I also want to caution, because Charlie did mention that these dates will progress a little faster for June and July, and they may slow down a little bit because of this downgrade petition volume that is going to come. So visa bulletin for June 2021 hasn't come in yet, and I expect to see that anytime this week, maybe middle of the week until late in the week. So I will be sure to make a analysis video for June 2021 visa bulletin as soon as it comes. 2 days after the visa bulletin comes in, we'll get to see Charlie's interview as well. So I'll make an analysis video on that as well. So stick to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel so that you get the notification of my future videos. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.